Baby, don't let me down. Got a lot going on right now, and I need you to hold me. Subscribe to Real Life Street Stars now.
Real life. It ain't real life. Just ain't real life street stars. You know what time it is.
I need everybody to put their hands together because we have a very special guest in the building.
Let's go!
Miss Janine.
How you doing?
Welcome to the Blue Couch, girl.
Thank you. It is so good to be here.
Yes. So you're here. You're on a world tour.
Yes, it's been absolutely amazing. Such a crazy experience getting to be like in Europe, in UK, and then through the States, as well as back home in New Zealand. It's been so special. I've been loving it.
Yeah. And you're here on the couch after your Dallas show. How was that?
That was amazing. The energy was so crazy. And the venue was like the biggest venue that I've ever headlined. And like they were amazing. The staff was great. It was like everything was like a dream. It was so beautiful.
I'm so happy that you're having a blast.
Yes.
Now, I know you, of course, but there are some people in the world who may know your voice, but may not know the face, right?
Yeah.
And so I think the one song that you are most notably known for is Hold Me, right? Can you give us a little taste so the people can put the two and two together?
Okay. All right. Baby, don't let me down. Got a lot going on right now. I need you to hold me.
Ooh. Sorry, I got chills.
I thought that was really bad.
No, that was amazing. I got chills, girl. Hairs on my arm standing up.
Is it okay? Mom is on it. Mom will tell me if it's bad.
We got mom in the building.
Mom.
Yeah. Clap it up for mom.
Okay, cool. I felt like I was excited, and then I said, I need to redo this.
No, you sound amazing as per usual. So Hold Me was a big hit for you.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that that we know that song in particular, amongst others, because you have so many hits. But before we jump into your hits and your success and your tour, we want to get a little background on you. So can you tell the people who may not know where you're from and how you got started?
So I am from New Zealand originally, and I've always sung. Like since I was a kid, I can remember writing songs, and I got a guitar when I was like 14 and started doing open mic nights, and then started getting into production. So I produce and I write, and then I moved to the States a while back. And then it's just been like, a journey of doing music independently, producing, creating. Then I went with a major, and then I've been independent again. And it's just been so amazing to be able to like experience all these different things in music. I'm not sure if that really answers. I was like,
no, you're good.
In this massive journey of like,
going down your page and stuff like that, I can see that you know how to engineer yourself.
Yeah.
How did you teach yourself? Are you self-taught or?
Yeah. It's a lot of it like has just come from necessity, especially because before now, like now I earn money from music, from my streaming, which is also so nice about being independent to actually see your own money coming in each month. You know, it's like a beautiful feeling. But before I saw any money coming in, I would always work. And then all the money that I worked with, I would put into music. And then, you can't afford everything, or the things you can afford, people are not going to care as much as you care. So a lot of it has come out of necessity. And also because like when I'm passionate, I just want to go. Like I don't want to wait and be like, I've got to go to a studio to record this. So I just learned how to do it all myself, and I just kind of built up, and I have gear. Like even now to this day, even though I am earning money from music, it's like for the album, I've bought a beautiful mic that I love, and I'll set up in my wardrobe so I can just be like at home and be inspired and work. So, and same with production actually. Although now I love collaborating with people because I think people have so many different skills that I don't have, but I also love that I can just kind of be in my zone, like at home and create everything and not be kind of, you're not waiting. Like I think again, and especially like things like the lockdown taught us that it's like, you need to be self-sufficient, or it's still amazing to be able to work with other people. But a lot of people that I knew that couldn't do things were like waiting because they're like, I can't write because I don't have other people, or I can't record because I don't have other people. Whereas I'm like, oh, business as usual. Hey, this is Janine, and I just had an amazing interview with my family at Real Life Street Stars. Subscribe.
Oh, what song did you wrote that took the longest time on?
Ooh, I don't know. I've got songs like still, like for the album that I'm working on now, there is stuff from 2019, 2020 that I'm still like working on. And especially because my life has changed so much since I even wrote some of these things, like I'll change words. So I don't know. I've got stuff that I take, it's weird because some songs will take like no time at all. And then some songs will take years. And also I'm a bit of a crazy perfectionist, so I'll like re-record. Right. Like some songs, like, okay, Broke Me Down, I played guitar on that track as well. But like, I'm not a great guitarist. Like I can play and I have feel and like I am really good with sounds, but technically I'm not great. So I had like some really great guitarists record it, but it didn't have the feel. It doesn't mean that it wasn't amazing. Like it was so good what they did, but I was looking for a feel. I think I recorded that guitar like 7 different times, like not 7 different takes. I would have done way more takes and things, but like different versions of stuff with different people. And then, yeah, sometimes songs like, yeah, my family and friends know, they'll be like, Janine, you need to chill. Like you've recorded the song like 5 times. And then sometimes I'll be like, oh, the first take was the best one. But I feel like I have to, in my head, sometimes like exhaust all of the options before I know what's right, you know? Right. Which is not great all the time, but some things are like that and some things go smoother.
It's you.
It's me.
It's you. So we're gonna take it back.
Let's go
we'll
back.
take it back to the back days. So let's talk about the beginning, as far as your first single or tape that went live on the internet or went live on platforms.
Yeah.
What was that? What was the first?
The very first song that I put out was called Bullets. It was on my first EP, Dark Mind EP. It didn't really like get as much recognition as Hold Me, which came out right after. But yeah, it was the first song that I fully produced and put out. And it got put on a show called Black Ink Crew. And from there, that sync led to the company that asking also to use Hold Me for Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. And that led to my song going like to the top of the charts, to then the deals coming in, the offers coming in from labels and things like that at the time. Yeah, so that's where it began.
And I know that Hold Me, like a lot of people may know Hold Me for the actual remix that featured Pusha T.
Yeah.
But there is an original version, which is amazing, that was out. How was it working with Pusha T and having him on the song?
So I would love to just like flex and be like, yeah, me and Pusha in the studio. Sadly, I never actually got to meet him. We were meant to, but you know, industry stuff doesn't always work out the way that it plans. But for me, it was really special because like I used to work, I remember being in Auckland where I'm from, and I was like, I'd work at a t-shirt store and I would like crank Fear of God all the time. Like I was listening to him while folding t-shirts, which is kind of funny that I was like literally pushing folding tees, listening to Pusha T. And then my song comes out and then there I am like with the opportunity to like work with people. And Pusha T was one of the people that they were like, do you want him? And I was like, I would love that. And then hearing him, I remember like, because he says like, Janine, baby, that's me. And I was like, oh my God, Pusha T just said my name. And he did 2 verses. Like that was the crazy thing as well. Because I was expecting like 1. And then I came back and I remember listening to it and I was just like, this is the most wild thing.
Yeah, because I think that some people may have thought that it was his song and you were like a feature.
I mean, I will take that. I don't mind. Yeah, he's so talented.
He is.
So
yeah.
I'll take that.
But there is an original version. It's all you. It's amazing. So if you haven't heard the original Hold Me, please do. Because if you cried with the Pusha T, you're definitely going to cry with this one. For sure.
How do you make a song like that? It's so captivating. Like it's so deep. It's like when I talk to people about that song, they say, man, that song got me through. They would cry and all that stuff. So what was your inspiration for that song?
Well, thank you. It was one of these things that just came out. Like I had a guitar and I just started playing and just started singing it. I know that sounds weird, but it just came out of me. Like it wasn't, it just one day and there was about being like just showing how I feel. Like I think I'm a very emotional being, but I've spent a lot of time pretending to be tough or trying to be things to fit in. And I think that was a song just being like, yeah, I'm never one to ask for help, but I'm asking this time. And it was like, I just want someone to hold me, make me feel better, put a blanket on, just feel good, you know?
Did you know that song was a hit like that? Not at all?
No, I mean, I think I think it resonated with people, which was really cool, but you don't know, like, and sometimes songs like that song was out for a year before it really did anything. Like my music, my EP was out for a year. I put it out independently. Before I got the Love and Hip Hop sync, which then put it to the top of the charts. And I have I made a reel about this a while back where I played the same song with the exact same recording to the same person in the same building. And this man was like, hold me, I don't get it. I ran into him after the song was doing well. And he was like, Janine, hold me, great fucking song. And I was like, just looking at him like.
It was always great.
I was like, but the crazy thing is that, I wanted to just be like, and usually I've been working on holding my tongue a lot. I'm getting better as I get older because I wanted to just be like, you didn't like it. But I was just like, okay. And it made me realize that like my value didn't change. The song didn't change. It was just his perception, which was based on the situation. Like I love the saying that like luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And like Hold Me had an opportunity. And it just happened to be the right song at the right time in the right moment in a show where it got the exposure that it connected with people.
Right.
And that kind of helps me sometimes because we get really in our heads as creators, and you guys know that you create, and like it's really easy to put your value based on what people give you back.
Mm-hmm.
And I still do it, but these moments help me to remind me that like what someone feels doesn't make something or break something.
Right. I was at your show yesterday and you said something that was real good. You said protecting your peace.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
I mean, I think first and foremost, like making sure that the things that you can control, that you do control, like in terms of like the energy and the people around you, making sure that you have good people around you. I think that's like, obviously there's a lot of work to be done inside, which I spend a lot of time working on. And because that, again, is something you can control. You can't control everything that happens around you. But for me, being the type of person that I am, and the fact that I'm constantly working on myself and my inner peace, I also need to be surrounded by people who support that and don't, like make things worse for me. People who help me, that make me feel secure, that make me know where I stand. And that goes for everything, your working relationships, your romantic relationships, like your friendships, like all of this. I think when I was younger, especially when you're in industry stuff, you're like, oh, these people are cool, they're doing this and that. And there's a lot of people who will try to dim your light for whatever reason. And just knowing the people, surrounding yourself with people who want to see you win. And that's like these days, it's important. And as soon as I see something that doesn't, you kind of like, now I'm better at walking away. Whereas before I was like, I needed people to like me. I needed that. Even from things that were really destructive, I need to fix things. And like, I still have to check myself, but I definitely know that I feel so blessed that the more work I've done on myself and not accepting things or getting rid of things that disturb my peace, the more beautiful friendships, beautiful relationships, and like peace comes into my life.
Very good. As far as your music, from what I listen to and I can hear, you do kind of lean more towards like an R&B sound. Do you have a genre that you feel like you fall into, or do you feel like you're just open?
I think if I was to explain it to people, I'd usually say like indie R&B or alternative R&B, but that's just because I think it's easy for people to get a feeling of what they like. Like I think my vocal tone definitely, and melodies, the things that like I love that moved me was all like R&B stuff. But then I also am really interested in a lot of like indie and like really like ethereal soundscapes, but then I also listen to a lot of like hip hop. So I think when I was younger, I was so concerned with like, what's my sound? What's my sound? Whereas now I'm like, I'm my sound. My voice is my sound, and I'm not as worried about making sure that I fit into a box. But it also always annoys me when you meet a musician and you're like, what kind of music do you make? And they're like, oh, you wouldn't understand. It's so crazy. It's everything. And then you hear it and you're like, oh, that's rock or that's pop, you know? But I feel like I'm way more open to making, like, so long as I feel it and I believe in it and it's me and I'm doing it for the right reasons, then I'm open to whatever that sounds like.
So because you do have a sound, and it's a beautiful sound, and because you do listen to a plethora of artists in different genres, I would like to know some features that you may like to do, right? So if you could choose, and I mean, as an independent artist, we know that like budgeting and things like that some things are easier, some things are a little more difficult, but if you could just have it your way, in the rap genre, who would be at your top that you'd like to do a feature with?
Honestly, like I feel like some of my tops have become problematic. So I'm like, I don't know. Not like the top problematic, but I don't know anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I need to think about this. But there are so many I feel like all the artists that I love the most are all like beefing each other now. And I was like, I can't pick because it's like I'm picking my children that are like fighting each other, you know. Not my children, that's a weird way to put it, but you know, like
your people,
my people, like the people I love. I'm like, can everybody just get along? You're all so talented.
Yes. Okay, well, we'll move on. Okay. Let's say R&B.
Okay, R&B, like Frank Ocean would probably be top of that list. He's just like, yeah, I would love to work with Frank Ocean.
Okay. What about hip hop? Which I guess that kind of maybe falls with rap.
Probably the rap. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we'll move on. We'll say rock. So we can work with any rock artists.
I don't really have like a rock person at this point. I'll probably go home and be like, Janine, why didn't you say? I feel like people always do this. They'll be like, what's your favorite song? And I'm like, song? What is a song? Like, it's like all of a sudden, and then I'll go home and be like, you could have said this. I will say in like the indie world, someone like Bon Iver, he does some really cool, like folky type of like weird stuff. I think that like, James Blake is also in that kind of like indie, but also like R&B-ish lane. Like I like a lot of stuff that has some really like solid roots in like R&B or even like the pop world or soul world, but also like sometimes will like throw me off a little bit where I'm like, oh, I wasn't expecting that.
Okay. And then lastly, a group. I mean, they could be an older group, a newer group, but a group.
I mean, if Destiny's Child was like,
That's a good one.
That would be pretty crazy. Yeah.
Can you tell us what's the worst thing and the best thing that's happened to you in this music industry?
Ooh. Okay, worst thing. I would say just people making you feel like you're not worth anything. Definitely like that probably beats everything. Like it's not like a great feeling when you're working with people and then they say they don't want to work with you anymore or whatever, or because you're not 15 years old anymore, or like, you know, like these types of things. I was like, it's not that. It's not even people like not believing in you. It's like when something gets to you to the point where you feel like you're doing something to please somebody else and you're not being true to yourself. Like I think the moments where I've lost myself, that's the worst thing I would say that's happened to me, is me being surrounded by people that made me question me to the point where I wasn't doing me justice. I think that would probably be the worst. And the best is the people that listen, like hands down, like being able to sing and have people sing back, like that, the craziest feeling being in somewhere like Paris and like a lot of the people in the audience didn't speak English but could sing the songs and they felt the emotions and like that feeling, or having an audience sing so loud that you feel like the room is like vibrating. You feel like you're going to be in tears or moved by people or hearing their stories or hearing that something that you created out of necessity for yourself and for your own peace or happiness could provide that peace for someone else. That like there's nothing.
Yeah, they said there's nothing better than that. There's no better feeling than that.
Yeah, and that's what you have to focus on. You just have to focus on when everything is like you're tired, you've not slept, you're dealing with people just being rude for the sake of being rude, and then you can look out the audience and be like, none of these people know like that you've got some random emails or someone trying to screw you over or saying they did something they didn't, like they just they're there, and that's what you got to focus on.
What would you tell a young woman that is able to sing and she wants to get in this industry? What would be your advice? I
would say, like I said, to any musician, is just like do it because you love it. Like do music if you were never going to make a cent from it. Because if I wasn't earning any money off music now, I would still be working my job to put money into my music. And I think it's so important to do it because you love it. Because if you don't love it, it's just like it's not going to be worth it. Like I think I would never stop, but like no one knows what that road looks like and all the people you're going to deal with. And I think it's just believe in yourself, do it because you love it, and just be you, and don't let anybody stop you from being you, and keep working, like keep focusing on the basics and bettering yourself.
I do want to get into some current events, but before that, I want a little story time with a couple of your songs that have either made it to like major film platforms or that's trending right now. Okay. And we kind of want to know where that inspiration came from, because I'm sure the inquiring mind wants to know. Okay. So we're going to start with Loving Me. So Loving Me is trending heavily on TikTok. I don't know if you know that.
That's pretty crazy. I feel like I've not had time to really look at social media or made that time, but I am so happy to see that there are people in Callum will like show me like videos of people that are like meeting up after not seeing each other, or like different videos, and like I've cried to a lot of people's it's like TikToks and stuff to Loving Me. It's
amazing. So in the song, you say, I didn't give it all just to gain nothing. Yeah. I'm going to take this pain and turn it into something. Where were you in your life when you wrote this song? What inspired it?
I've had like a lot of, I guess, like battles over my life with just mental health. And I know it's in a lot of people and like throughout family and stuff. And as I'm getting older, I can recognize what these things are. And then I've had a lot of experiences like a lot of people have that they definitely don't help. Like even if you are used to even if your mind kind of works that way, I've definitely been through a lot of things that can like break a person. And for me, I feel like I could have not been here, I feel like I've felt a lot of things that have made me not want to be on this planet. So I think that was my thing, is like, I'm not going to let these things that have made me feel so low that I don't want to be here take over. I'm going to use them and make something beautiful from it. And like, I'm going to be here. I'm going to choose to love myself through those things.
That's beautiful. We're going to get a little spicy.
Oh God, I know what this next one is going to be.
What's the next one, Janine? What is it?
It's going to be something about Take Me on the Table.
It is. It is. It is. So, title of that song.
Okay, Unstable.
Unstable. So Unstable is most notably known for being featured on Power.
Power, yeah.
Show. Very spicy scene.
The first double sex scene of the whole thing.
Series.
It was crazy.
Yeah, it was spicy. So if you haven't seen it, Google it. Look it up. That song made it even more spicy.
Yeah, I was really it was fun. It was definitely like so crazy to see a production that high with such a spicy scene, and then my music and being like, there's so much going on here.
It's a lot, but it was fitting.
Yeah,
it was fitting. And so I believe that everyone has been in a chaotic relationship at some point, because you start off the song and you say, maybe it's better if we both say nothing, walk away like we never knew each other. F that. I'm begging you, say something.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you go on to being taken on the table. So what was going on, girl? What inspired that song?
You know, my current partner is here, so it's an awkward question to answer. But
I'm sorry. Hey, Callum.
I was in a really bad relationship, like so toxic. And I think, again, a lot of that came from the fact that I didn't love myself enough to be like, oh, you deserve so much better than this. And I also think like toxic relationships, they don't start toxic. They start by being like, oh, this person's really nice, they're really charming, they're this and they're that.
That's how they get you.
That's how they get you. And then like one by one, it's like something that's like bad enough to end it, but then you accept it and then it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And for me, that's what this thing was. It was like, had broken me down to this point where it's like, I didn't like the version of who I was. And it was like, you become so like codependent in such an unhealthy way.
Like a drug.
It was like, yeah, exactly. And I think that's what it is. It was just like, we should walk away from each other. And then it's like, no, like I need this. And then it's like, fuck it, we'll just make up and move on. And like, that's how you heal stuff, but you're not healing anything. It's like horrible.
Like a Band-Aid.
I mean, I was like, yeah, I mean, when I wrote it, it was with a terrible person. Like, and I can say that, like, I think it's okay to date people and break up and be like, they're a good person. It didn't work out. This was not that. Like, it was like, I know I'm sleeping with the devil. He made me cry to dry my eyes and be the hero. And it was like somebody that, again, at the time, being with somebody that deliberately makes you feel like nothing so that they can swoop in and then make you feel great just to do it again. And it's like this roller coaster. And that's what that song was about. Like, it's funny because it's so like, it's actually quite fun. Like, it's fun to play live. And I think we're all like, yeah, take me on the table. But the reality of that song was like not good, you know? And but it's cool now because I can look back and just be like, man, like to me now, like I always feel it. Like, and I can take it there. But like, my life's so much better now. And I'm so happy. And I'm just so far from that it's almost like crazy for me at this point in life to be like, wow, you put up with that or you dealt with that. But I think everyone can be in that position, and which is why I think it's important to talk about it, to be like I've always been like a strong woman, like a tough woman, like could ask my family. It's like crazy for them to see me become so small in a relationship when like I've always been so like I will do anything for my family, my loved ones. Like I will stand up for anyone. I'll fight for anyone. And the fact that I was in a position where I wouldn't fight for myself, but it can happen.
Yeah.
But also you can come out of it and you can be happy, and then you can be like, never again.
It's a great song, and I think your supporters, we be singing it like it's a love song, child.
But I like that too. But I feel like music should be that. You can literally just be like a fun thing with your partner where you're like, you know what, take me on the table. And I like that. Music should be interpreted in the way that you want it to be. Like, that's why sometimes when people ask me about stuff like, I got a song, Crying in the Club, which a lot of people think it's a breakup song. And for me, that song was so much heavier. That was about when I lost my dad and I was like trying to go out and have fun with people. And I was like literally in tears, like in the club talking about like death. Like, this is heavy stuff, but like I was in such a horrible place. And like, but people vibe out to it and think about other things. And I'm like, that's okay. That's for you. Like, I want you to take what you can from the songs, you know?
It's like your music just helps a lot of people get through with things. And so back to the toxic relationship, what's your advice of getting out of something like that? How do you walk away?
Yeah.
Like, what's the best way? Like,
I think like the hardest thing is, and I've recognized this with other people in different situations, is like, you can't tell anybody. Like, you have to be ready yourself. And I think also, like, I'll start with advice for friends. Like, I think the best thing you can do is support someone and not isolate them. Because when you're with someone that's particularly like abusive, the first thing they'll do is they'll start isolating you from everybody. Everyone, like your family, your friends. Start with like friends and stuff, and then it goes to your family. But like what people will kind of do is like, you're stupid, you need to be out there. Oh, well, that's you then. And they'll walk away rather than being like, hey, this is not healthy. I'm here for you. You'll know when you know. And that kind of gives people the space to make those changes, you know? Mm-hmm. And then for yourself, you just have to remember take some time, remember who you are. And when you've had enough, and think about what you really deserve, visualize what you want, and recognize that like you're not going to take that and turn it into the thing you want. Like, and it's nothing to do with you. It's not personal. And like, I had to feel like this is like, every time you're like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not enough? And it's really like, I mean, like, we've seen some amazing people that are like, things happen to them and you're like, that's not you, and you have to realize that with yourself as well. It's like, it's not you. You are enough and you deserve better, and you will find that, but you won't find it while you're still staying in a place with someone that makes you miserable,
Now we're going to do one last song,
Okay.
because I feel like you speak a lot on heavy things that needs to be said or needs to be heard. And so when you do things like, unstable, and you're talking about this toxic relationship, we've all kind of been there. When you talk about loving me and it's like, hey, like I'm feeling super low, but like I have to have the strength to think about myself. You have another song. And in the song, you talk about how this person that you were with, in my interpretation, like they deserve an angel and they deserve to be happy and, be loved. And a lot of times we don't have it in us to say that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that song and what inspired that and why you thought it was important to put that out to the world.
Yeah. When I was younger, I would say like my first longer term relationship, I moved to New York and I was still like, we were doing long distance and I was just like not in that place. I wasn't ready for that. But the person was a lovely, beautiful person. And it's hard sometimes when you can see somebody as amazing and they're your friend, but it's not right for you. And in that distancing from somebody, you can feel so much like guilt for making someone feel like that they weren't worthy of your love. And in this instance, I felt like that. I felt like I made a really amazing person feel like they weren't enough because I wasn't ready for the commitment of a long distance relationship over a long period of time. And like, again, for me, it's like I hate that someone that was a nice person felt like unloved or not enough because of me. And then, I think it's like you see someone that's good and they were your friend or your best friend at a point and you just still want them. You wish you could be in each other's lives because you just want to be like, hey, you're awesome. Like, I want to see you do well. And then that for me was seeing somebody find someone that was perfect for them and they seemed so happy. And it's always weird, I think, like at the time. I mean, this was like 15 years ago, like 10, 15 years ago. So it's like, I'm not, it's a very different life and I'm so happy now. But at the time, it's weird when you see somebody move on. And I think the story always has to be like, yeah, you moved on, screw her, screw that. And I think for me, it was like, you really do deserve an angel. And I'm glad you found your angel. And it was like, there's a line in it that says that I saw a picture of you and her and you were smiling. Oh, wait, I forgot my own words. Okay.
Talent will do that, child.
I think like touring and lack of sleep. I said I saw a picture of you and her and it made me smile, even though inside I was dying. But I'm glad you found your angel. And it's like, there are those moments where you're like, it literally was like, I saw them and I was like, smiled, even though I was like, ooh, that's weird.
It sucks a little bit.
And now I'm like, I love it. Like, I just want to be like, I'm so glad. And I'm so glad that you found your person because like I found my person,
Yay. And what's the title of that song?
That's called You Deserve It.
You Deserve It. And so all these songs that we just talked about are available on all streaming platforms, yes?
Yes.
Yay. So
All
if you haven't heard any of these songs, please go listen to them immediately because they're all amazing. So we're going to move forward. We're going to get into some current events. We're going to talk the talk because we want to know Janine's opinion. Okay. Now, of course, it is always a very touchy subject when we bring up Diddy.
Oh, God.
But we're going to do it because I believe your opinion is going to be valid.
Okay.
Because you are a female artist who chose to be independent after a stint being signed.
Yeah.
You decided to be independent and you've been independent for years now. What are your thoughts on this idea that in the music industry, when you're signed, that the things that Diddy has been accused of, it happens and it's a frequent thing?
I mean, I think like it's weird as well when you're like such a fan of seeing something and then to like know, like we all saw the footage and just to be like, that's a monster. Like, I think like I think there's so much horrible stuff, and the fact that everyone swept things under the rug, and then the fact that people are so like still protecting in the industry because they want that like thing. For me, yeah, I mean, again, it's like people don't want to talk about it because they're like, but for me, I'm just like, throw away the key for all of that stuff. You know, I know people make mistakes and people there's levels to mistakes, but I do think there's some things that people do, they work on themselves, they apologize for. Again, there are levels to like what I could probably, because of my own like way of life and the things that I've experienced, there's certain things that I'd struggle to forgive, you know. From what I know, I've not dug super deep, because we've just been so busy. Like we literally, I don't know what's going on half the time because we're just so much like we have to do for the tour. All I can say is I don't really know much, but I saw like a video that made me just be like, nah. And when I saw like people in the industry still supporting, I was like, oh, I don't know if I trust you if you're gonna like protect that, because. But again, if there was like some like crazy story in which someone came out and they were like, man, I was like, this is gonna be so bad, sharing all this stuff. He was like, come for me. They're probably gonna come for me. But like, if someone was like, he was somehow drugged and he acted crazy and something happened and he was like not himself and he came out and he's like, I did this, I'm the worst, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna work on myself. We'd be like, okay, we need to like, let's have this conversation, let's figure out how we can fix this. But to just be like, no. But I don't know. Have they come out and said anything?
Well, he initially, because the video you saw was him and Cassie in the hotel. So previous to that video being aired or, you know, exposed or whatever, he said he never put his hands on her. He doesn't understand why she would ever even say these things. After the video came out, he did release an apology.
I've not seen.
Yeah, so he did release an apology where he said that he was at his lowest point, and that allegedly that he was at his lowest point and that, you know, he's sorry.
Can there be a recovery or apology for anything like that?
I mean, like, again, my opinion is like, I've got such strong feelings on these things that it makes me sick to my stomach and makes me just be like, so no, I'm kind of working on myself to be like, if there is enough of a thing, like, again, if there's circumstances I don't know, I don't see it for myself, but I want to work on myself to be at a point where if someone genuinely works and people make mistakes, I don't know if we call that a mistake. Like I said, I want to be that place, but I'm not. I'm that person that's like, you did what? Like, ugh. But,
what are your thoughts on record labels?
Record labels, like my thoughts kind of move. And I mean, record labels are such a broad term because we have like people that like, it might be like, I'm a record label. I got Little Mixtape Records. I got my own record label. Majors.
Sign me, girl. What?
Yeah, let's do it. I set that up when I first put my first song out because I was like, I want to grow and build. And then my dream is to help develop artists and like bring younger people through, especially also like from where I'm from, to like bring them into this world. Like I want to be that bridge. But I also know I need to get myself to a point, help yourself so you can help others. But I think they can work if they work for you. For me, it didn't really work. I think I had an indie mindset going in with a major label. I love being independent. I love that when I want to put music out, I can put music out. I love seeing my income from streaming come in. I like being able to find people to do the things that they do rather than having like a blanket where everything is like 10 times more expensive. But like, yeah, so because people always ask me like, would you sign to a label? And I was like, I don't really want to, like, I'm so happy, but I also don't want to say like never, because I think you work with people, right? Rather than like you sign. I think back in the day, it was like so cool. It was a bigger flex to be on a major label. That was the goal. Yeah. Whereas now it's kind of like.
And there's different lanes. So there's like distribution deals and, you know, full blown, you know, 360 deal.
Yeah.
It's, so there's a broad spectrum to sign.
Yeah. I think it has to work for the person. Like the way, like I feel like when I was with a major, there is a lot of stuff where I'm like, man, they didn't do this. And as I get older, I'm kind of like, well, what did you do? Like, how did you utilize that? Like, you can't go into a major label and then be kind of like, well, I want to do everything independent. Or maybe you can, but you need to like make that known going into it. But like I was like fresh from New Zealand, just like, oh my God, I'm so excited to be here. Like there's all these, like I felt like I was constantly in the principal's office, like not a partnership, because I was so like young and so like impressionable that I was just so happy to be there. At the same time, I was still like fiery and like going for it. But I think I took people's word for it when they said they were going to do things, rather than being like, okay, following up. Like it's a weird thing. Like for me, for my album, they loved it when I made it. I finished it completely in 2016. They put it out in 2018 because they were like, we want to keep building you, so we're going to do these things and do these things. But those things never happened, so it just sat. And I feel like in that time, I didn't want to make new stuff because I felt like I couldn't move forward until that had come out. But that's also on me. Like I could have been doing that. I could have been sneaking little things or doing little like, like I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying like, I think that everyone is accountable for themselves and the decisions that they make need to work for them. But people need to ask the question, what do I want this for? Like, what do I want a major label for? Do I want it for money? If so, it's going to cost you more in the long run. So it might be better just to like go and get a job and save up and put that money out. So you're taking 100%, I think, which is, and like what I do, I invest everything myself. I'm paying for my whole first world tour, which is terrifying and so expensive. And you just like got to back yourself. But when I was with a label, they would just be like,
it's going to cost you anyway.
Yeah. But it's again, I don't own, it hurts me to be like, I don't own the masters to my old songs. And one day I want that back, like I think that, yeah, so you pay for it one way or the other,
Hashtag give Janine her masters.
Give me my masters.
Give her masters. So as somebody, we'll get back to the current events, but as somebody who is full-blown independent,
yeah,
I want our viewers to kind of be educated on how that works financially. So you are financially responsible for everything you put in. Like you say, you're backing your own world tour right now.
Yeah.
You're responsible for, you engineer yourself, but in other aspects, you would be paying for your own studio time, own mix and masters. You'd be paying for like putting your music out there, like whether it's, whatever service you use to put your music out there. But there is, like you said, you receive 100% of your streams. So when you do look at your streams, is that something that gets paid out monthly? Is that something that gets paid out every 6 months? How does that work as far as the artist thinking like, hey, I'm putting this money in and my streams are up? How often do they see the reward of their labor?
So I distribute through DistroKid, who have been really cool. That there's people there that actually will help. And it's a weird, because it's like they will show you monthly what you earn, and they'll show you what you earn from each platform, but there's usually like a few months delay. So I won't know like what I earned last month, probably for another like 4 months or so. And then even then there's some place, like some of the platforms that like could be like 6 to 12 months before you see the full amount. But the main ones, you'll get the main gauge, I would say, in like 3 months. And then I kind of know now if I'm like, based on things like it does change, but based on things like my Spotify monthly listeners, I could be kind of like, okay, I'm in this range for that month because I had that, So it's cool. Like it's a very different feeling from getting an advance from a record, like a major label, where they're like, you might get 200,000, which sounds crazy. But then you've got like taxes, half that's going to go. You probably got your lawyer fees. So there's like another % on top of that. You might have, like, I don't have a manager, but if you have a manager, you've got another 15, 20% on top of that out. You might be left with like, say, even if you're left with like 100K, sounds crazy, but you might not see any money or anything ever, like off your streaming, because they're going to keep like spending. It's going to cost, like, you might be able to get a music video made independently with people like that you care about, like for a few thousand. That same video is probably going to cost like 40 grand with a major, because everybody wants a piece of that. And then you might have like and this is not to say it happens for everyone. This is my take and this is my experience, but you might have like an A&R fly out and be like, oh, we'll have dinner and catch up. Those flights, that hotel, everything is on your tab. So it's like, even if you start earning money, you're not necessarily going to see anything back, because the amount that they spend keeps getting higher. So you might go like at least 5 years, and then the money that you get, it's not even income, it's another advance. So it's like when you break that down over the amount of hours you do, the amount of years work that you do, you're getting like below, well below minimum wage, versus maybe saving up, putting money in, and then just seeing, even if it's a small amount that comes in, you're like, that's money I earned. That's not an advance. That's not someone giving you money that you owe. It's like you get that back.
Right.
That's how I feel.
What about like, do you get to keep your show money or anything like that? Or is there?
Yeah, so again, it depends what, like if you're with a major, it depends what your deal is. Like if you're on a 360 deal, you're probably, I don't really know. I didn't do like a 360 when I was with one, so I'm not sure. But yeah, for me now, I'm like, got an awesome booking agency who I love, and they take 10%. I mean, so there's a lot of stuff with venues, and to be honest, because of the scale, it's like it's still not much that you're seeing. Like but you keep going and you hope that, when you see the splits of some things, you're like, man, really?
Right.
I worked so hard.
So my question, would you do it all over again? Would you went and signed a record label, or would you just done all independent?
It's hard to say because you can't go back, right? And it's like, I feel like my initial answer would be like, no. But then if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't be the person I am. So I have to say it is what it is, you know?
I have just one more current event question for you. Okay. And I know this one's gonna tickle your fancy, girl.
Okay, let's see.
But I got to talk about it because you're an artiste. Okay. You're an artiste and you are a connoisseur of art and music.
Yeah.
Drake and Kendrick. I know.
I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I've like kept saying, I've not actually been following. I know that's crazy. It's in my to-do list because I'm like, but we've literally like, we've not been sleeping. Like we've been working so hard. Every single second has just been on like tour. So even like I said, with current events, I'm probably going to be useless, but I've been like, and when I do this analysis, I'm like, I personally, because I think they're both extremely talented, and I love them both for different reasons, and I've not dived in to know what's going on, but I'm like, I want to like get the order back to back and like read the lyrics and like, but then I also am like, man, there's so much other stuff going on in the world to worry about right now. So I'm like, I'm in different phases where I'm like, I do, when I dive in, I'm like, I want to do the proper research so I have a proper informed decision. But nobody's got time for that right this moment.
But you are a fan of both.
I'm a fan of both.
Talented.
Yeah.
Very
and I've gone through phases of like, you know?
Yeah.
I would say like right now I don't like know enough to be, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say like, because I haven't done my full research, but I would say like, we all know they're both very talented. We all both know they're very different rappers, they're different musicians, they're very different personalities. So without doing like a deep dive, I couldn't even get into to really give in the full
tea.
The full tea, because I don't have that.
I respect it. We respect it. So again, you are currently on a world tour. Yeah. You've done your European part.
Yep.
You've done Chicago, Atlanta, and Dallas here in the US. What's next?
So so we did London, Paris, Amsterdam, Chicago, New York, DC, Atlanta, Dallas. So we go Seattle, San Francisco, and LA.
So those are the last 3 shows.
Last 3, it's so crazy. It feels like we're just getting started. Like it's so it feels like we're just getting in a groove, you know? It's like, and I love it because I feel like even my stage performance from like show 1. Oh, sorry. Before we did London, Paris, Amsterdam, we did Auckland, Sydney, Melbourne back in March in my like where I'm from. With my first show, I started off the tour with my hometown of Auckland, New Zealand, and then I'm finishing off in where I'm living in LA, which is really cool. But yeah, I'm gonna be so sad, but hopefully we'll just keep touring. And like I said, the growth is really fun because I feel like I can get out of my head more and I can just enjoy the show.
Is there anything that you want everyone to look out for as far as singles, albums? You are performing some new stuff at your shows that are non-released, which I'm a fan of, girl. But is there anything that you have coming out that people should look out for?
I'm going to be releasing new music as soon as I get off tour. I'm getting back into to try to finish that. So I would say just like, you know, follow me on socials, follow me on whatever platform, listen to the music, and just like stay tuned for the new stuff. Tell your friends.
And so for those who do want to find you, social media, Instagram, TikTok.
Yeah, I'm at Janine on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and then I think Janine Official on Facebook. But yeah, it'll be like, I think on my Instagram is a good way. I'm most active on Instagram. And then there's usually like links to everything from there.
Well, Janine, we have loved having you on this blue couch. You're amazing. You're a very talented young woman, and I'm so happy that we're able to put a face to the voice that so many people love so much. If you're in any of her upcoming cities of the tour, please get a ticket. Please go and support. The show is amazing, 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 amazing. And, you know, this is the best part, Janine. You are a real life street star.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I love you guys so much. Thank you.
Shout out Reallyfe Street Starz, nigga. Move it. Hey.